Hi everyone. In this video, we'll go over 16 of the easiest math questions for Asvab test prep. Be sure to practice these questions repeatedly until you've mastered them. As many of you know, Asvab Tutoring has helped over 11,000 applicants improve their scores through our one-to-one tutoring program. We're also proud to be working with the U.S. Air Force to support their applicants in boosting their Asvab performance. If you need extra support, you can request a one-to-one tutor. You can also use the Asvab Prep app, which includes hundreds of practice problems, plus an Asvab prediction test designed to mirror the actual exam. This lets you estimate your score before you head to MEPS and take the real test. Let's get started.
Let's practice this math knowledge question for the Asvab, PyCat, CAT-IB, AFQT, AFCT, and Asvab GT. The question asks here, AB equal to dx, solve for the d. When it comes to solving the equation, people think that I always have to solve for x. That is not true for this case. So whatever you have to solve, that is your variable. The rest of them are constant. Okay. So now people also think that always my variable will be the left side, but that is also not true. Like this case, right? So I have to solve for d. So my d is actually right side. So AB equal to dx equal to same thing as dx equal to AB. You could write that in here. So you have dx equal to AB. And if you want to solve for d, you have to divide by the other things you have to eliminate. Okay, so you have to divide both sides by x. Divide both sides by x. So x cancel out. So d equal to AB over x. So that is the answer option. So the correct answer is option B. Make sure that you practice multiple times to get used to that type of problem, so you could solve any kind of problem with just for the letters. The question asked here, which of the following is not a prime number? It is one of the easiest question you might see on the actual Asvab test. So the prime numbers are the numbers you could divide it by 1 and itself, right? So the prime number you could find mostly odd number except 2. So 2 is an even number. This is also a prime number. And 1, you might think this is a prime number, but 1 is not a prime number, right? So with that, the correct answer is option C. That is, 1 is not a prime number. Hi everyone, let's practice another math knowledge question for the Asvab, PyCat, and other version of Asvab test. The question says, what is the reciprocal of 3 and 2/5? If you want to find the reciprocal of a mixed number, what you have to do, you have to first make this mixed number into improper fraction and then flip it. So let's do it. So I have 3 and 2/5. So what you have to do first, you have to multiply with denominator and add with numerator. So that gives you 3 times 5 is 15 plus 2 is 17 over 5. So if you make reciprocal of this number, that gives you 5 over 17. So the correct answer is option C. Hi everyone, let's practice another math knowledge question for the Asvab test. It is an absolute value problem. The question says the absolute value of 7 minus 5 minus absolute value of 3 minus 7. So let's do the problem. So if you want to do that, first do inside the absolute value. So that gives you 7 minus 5 is 2, absolute value of 2 minus 3 minus 7 gives you negative 4, right? So absolute value means you have to keep the positive number. If positive or negative inside the absolute value, you have to take the positive one. So in that case, that gives you 2 minus 4. So 2 minus 4, that means if you have a same sign in the front, you have to add. If you have a different sign in the front, you have to subtract and keep the big sign on. So that gives you negative 2. So the correct answer is option A. Hi everyone, let's practice another Asvab math knowledge question for the Asvab test. The question says find the value of 3 cubed times 5 squared. Right? I've been teaching Asvab over 10 years, helped thousands of people, currently helping US Air Force to improve their applicants' Asvab score. And from my experience, many of you here, they don't know how to deal with the exponent. So let's learn how to deal with exponent. So here we have 3 to the power third power times 5 squared, right? So the many people, they just multiply the exponent with the number. That's not the way how to do it. Let's split it down. So 3 to the power third power equal to 3 times 3 times 3, so that is 27, and 5 is square equal to 5 times 5 is 25. It's not 5 times 2 is 10, or it's 3 times 3 is 9. That's not the correct, right? So let's multiply here now. 27 times 25, so 7 times 5 is 35. 5 carry 3, 5 times 2 is 10 plus 3 is 13. 0 to the second line. 7 times 2 is 14. 4 carry 1. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. Make sure that you line up. So then you have 5 here. 3 plus 4 is 7. 5 plus 1 is 6. So 675. So the correct answer is option. Let's learn this Asvab math knowledge question for the Asvab PyCat, Cat IB, AFQT and Asvab GT. So the question says here, what is the reciprocal of 0.25? So you know, reciprocal means you have to flip the numbers. So if you look at the answer option, you see all of them are whole numbers. So try to make this decimal into whole number or fraction. So let's do that. So you could do 0.25 equal 1 over 4, 1/4, right? So now if you flip it, right, if you reciprocal it, that means you have to flip the number. So that is actually 4. So the correct answer is option B. Question asked here, what is the greatest common factor of 36 and 48? So the greatest common factor is the largest number you could divide 36 and 48. The traditional way you might learn, if you want to find the greatest common factor, you have to find the prime factor of both numbers 36 and 48, and then you have to find the common factor between two sets and then multiply them, and then that gives you the greatest common factor. But I have learned the easiest way how to handle this problem. So the way you have to do it, you have to divide the biggest number by the smallest number. So let's do that. So 36 with 48. 36 goes into 48 is 1 times is 36. Subtracted 8 minus 6 is 2. 4 minus 3 is 1. So now what you have to do, you have to divide this number by 12. So 36 in here. Now 12 goes into 36 how many times? 3 times. So 3 times 12 is 36. So there is no remainder. That is the greatest common factor, 12. So that means you could divide 36 divided by 12 and 48 divided by 12 without any remainder. So the correct answer is option B. In this question we'll learn x minus 5 equal to 4. Solve for x. This is a simple algebraic equation you might see on the actual test. So let's solve it. So I have x minus 5 equal to 4. So what you have to do, you have to add 5 both sides, because you have to do the opposite operation in order to eliminate this 5. So this 5 cancel out. That gives you x equal to 5 plus 4 is 9. So the correct answer is option D. Make sure that you watch this video and save it, and also wait for the next one. The question asked here, 9 is what percent of 60, right? So this is a percentage related problem. So if you see the problem like that, you have to find the percent. You could use a formula. This is a powerful formula, that is part over whole equal to percent over 100, right? Now which number go where, right? So you need to remember that part means is, so 9 is, so that is the part, right? And off means whole, so off 60, so that is 60, right? So you have to find the what percent. So that is, say this is x, so you could write here x over 100, right? So if you cross multiply that, that gives you 60x equal to 900, right? So if you divide it by 60 on both sides by 60, this 60 cancel out, right? So this 0 cancel out. Now that x equal to 90 divided by 6 is 15. So the correct answer is option D. Make sure that you practice multiple times in order to fully understand the problem. So the question asks here, what is the value of 5 factorial? You know, you cannot use the calculator in the actual Asvab test. So make sure that you watch the video multiple times to make sure that you 100% get this problem. In order to solve this problem, 5 factorial equal to 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Whatever factorial you have, you start with that number until 1, and then you have to multiply. So 5 times 4 is 20, 3 times 2 is 6, so 20 times 6, that gives you 120. So the correct answer is option C. Practice this multiple times. It will really helpful. The question asks here, if 3x minus 1 is greater than equal to 20, what is the value of x? So let's do that. It's a very simple problem. So let me write that down. The question, you have 3x minus 1 greater than equal 20. Add both sides by 1. This 1 cancel out. So that gives you 3x is greater than equal 21. Divided both sides by 3. Then 3 cancel out. X is greater than or equal 7. So the correct answer is option B. The question asks here, simplify 3x parentheses 5x square to the power 3. So in order to solve that, you have to follow the PEMDAS. Let's do that in here. So you have 3x keeping separate, then do that part. So 5x squared to the power 3, that means you could rewrite it 5 x squared times 5 x squared times 5 x squared, right? So 5 times 5 is 25 times 5 is 125 times 3. So that gives you 375. Now x exponent 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 2 is 5 plus 2 is 7. So that gives you x to the power 7 power. So with that, the correct answer is option C. As you know, Asvab Tutoring helped over 10,000 recruits to improve their Asvab score. We are currently also working with US Air Force candidates to improve their Asvab score as well, right? So based on a lot of feedback, you might see this type of question in the actual Asvab test. The question is in here, 13 minus 17 absolute value, right? So in order to solve that, first you have to do the operation inside the absolute value, and then you have to simplify with the absolute value. So let's do that. So here we have 13 minus 17. So always, if you want to subtract, you have to write always big number to a small number, right? So now here 13 minus 17. So 17 minus 13 gives you negative 4 here, right? And inside the absolute value, whatever you have the sign, positive or negative sign, it will be always positive. That is answer 4. So the correct answer is option D. The question says, what is 12.05 times 0.05? So I have been teaching Asvab over 10 years. I help thousands of people from my personal experience who failed the Asvab test or score low. Many of them, they don't know how to multiply decimal. So let's learn the decimal multiplication together, and that will help you to prepare for the Asvab test. So if you want to multiply decimal, the first thing you have to do, get rid of the decimal first, right? So let's rewrite it. So that gives me 1205 times 5. So now multiply the regular multiplication. So 5 times 5 is 25. 5 carry 2. 5 times 0, 0 plus 2 is 2. 5 times 2 is 0, carry 1. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 1 is 6. So that is 6025. You see all the digit has 6025. Now I have to put the decimal carefully. So look at in here. So after the decimal, how many digits I have? I have total. You have to count for the both numbers. Okay. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 digits. So I have to put the decimal point 4 decimal places from right to left. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4 right here, right? And fill out with 0. So the correct answer is option B. So if you want to practice more, download our application from App Store or Google Play. The first, you could pause the video and try to do by yourself. You could also write a comment to see you get a different answer than I did.